All right,
Okay, everybody's accounted for now. But could we have some roll call, please?
you got 1 second. Okay, Lou Ann Rupp here, Renee Phelps here, Dave Purdue here.
So for now, we at least have Felix here. Maybe Ron will be in here, as he had said. There's Todd. I see Todd's in. Todd, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, all right. Let's do the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all for coming. We got almost as many visitors, so to speak, as we have the trustees, so. Let's go with the minutes, if we could. We need to approve some minutes for July 10th, 2024 regular session minutes.
And I will make a motion to accept the minutes and get read them.
And I will second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes for July 10th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, okay. Do we have, that's the only minutes that we had. Is that,
We have a special session.
is that true?
That was
Right?
good.
Nothing else, okay.
Hey.
Okay, then I will go right into our reports for committees and from the trustees. I'll start off first. And go with the inspection department. In 2023. For July, we had 4,615 permit revenue is what I'm talking about. This year we had 9,985, so that is a plus of 5,370. Year to date, we had in 2023, we had $39,690. And hello, Ron. And can we, I guess, make it present or that Ron's here too?
Ron is here.
Ron's here. Permit revenue year to date for 2024 is 39,720. So it's up just a couple of dollars actually. Number of permits year to date, last year was 83, this year is 70. New homes, last year was 1, this year is 3. And new homes year to date, last year was 15, this year was 9. So it's tracking just pretty much as it's been tracking each month. The building or the department is lower than it has been in the last couple of years. So kind of like I think about everything else that will be reflected with the managed reports from finance. I don't have anything from the fire department, but I see that Mr. Elton is here. And if you could give us our report, please, for the sheriff department.
Okay, the month of July was fairly busy. The deputies in zone arrested 44 people. They also issued 88 citations. They took one report for a drug overdose, a missing person, mostly the third person, 3 assaults, 3 drug arrests, 5 crashes, and 6 domestic assaults. They also arrested 31 people for driving while intoxicated. Then one of my deputies attended a training in Norman, Oklahoma, that focused on criminal interdiction, which basically it was about how to better recognize criminal activity and further investigations, including narcotic investigation. And just there's a couple calls I'll tell you about. Deputies arrested a patron at a local bar for attempting to sell ketamine to others. The suspect was from Oakland or Kansas, was found in possession of ketamine, and he was also arrested for a complaint of him groping a woman down at the bar as well. Another one, Deputies responded to a local resort located inside the village, I can tell you that too. For suspicious activity call, the deputies investigated further and discovered a 25-year-old male from St. Louis had eaten inside the restaurant. Then later followed the 17-year-old female employee out to her car. After she got in the car, the male approached the vehicle, reached inside, unlocked the passenger door, got in her car, and basically asked for her to kiss him, hug him, and smoke weed with them. Which the female refuses, advances, and then he ordered her to drive. So she was scared, so she did take off driving, but she did circle around to another parking lot where she knew other employees were getting off. And she pulled in that parking lot, jumped out of the car, the male ran off, but we did locate him. And he was arrested for kidnapping. Deputies also responded to an assault call where the victim had obvious injuries. He basically was stabbed through the hand. And we later located that suspect, and he was arrested on first degree felony assault. So we'll pick up the call we had in the month of July.
Okay, great, thank you. Also, and maybe that was mentioned last month when I wasn't here, but the air conditioner, heaters working fine downstairs, it's keeping everybody.
Everything's good. I still trying to get them to come back and finish dressing up my wires.
We're working on that.
And then,
In fact, money talks, and the check is sitting right there on the clerk. The clerk has the check sitting right there, so you know what? They don't want them fix it for $50, I guess they don't have the check, so it's real simple, so.
and then I guess the IT guy come back one of these days to put that other camera back up.
Yes,
That's the plan.
So
okay,
everything's good.
all right, thank you, Lieutenant. Ron, your report, please.
We got the new sign up here at Cherokee, and then we've got the one up down at Ridgewood, that's a new sign, you know, we're doing the Ridgewood Garden now, so that sign is up. Got a hold of Quality Electric, and they're supposed to come and fix the lights down there at Ridgewood. I don't know if they've done that yet or not, I didn't have time to run down there, but there's gonna be 2 lights there, one on the sign, one on the flagpole that's there. The irrigation in Ridgewood, there's really no reason to fire it up anymore this year because it's, you know, we don't have any flowers there or anything yet, so just, you know, you just have to re-winterize it, so we just will wait on the irrigation until next spring. There was a water leak at the water meter at the garden in Lynn Creek, and that's something that has to be fixed by the water company, so I told them about it, and I assumed that they probably fixed it by now, because it was leaking pretty good down in where the water meter's at. And at Trillium, you know, we got that ship down there. And Ike mentioned a while back that it had a hole in it, he put a piece of plywood over it. Well, there's another board that's rotted out, and got a hole in it too. And I could put caution tape around that whole thing, but it's all tore down, and I tied that up, and they're just gonna get on it anyway, so. We really need to get somebody to fix that or get rid of it or something, because it's got a lot of boards that are rotted away, and it needs to be fixed. Now, the neighbor said down there said, you know, quite a few people actually use that part, so. You know, if we want to fix it, we, you know, I don't know who we can get, you know, have to replace a few boards and paint the ones that they put on. I don't know if that guy that fixed the fence over here by the siren is interested in something like that. He put the cupola back on here and a couple things around here. I don't know what his name is, but I'm sure we can find it.
I can take a look at that. I actually went over there and put that piece of plywood on the ship over there. Where's the other board?
Up in the front of it.
Okay. That can happen.
Yeah,
Just got a board stuck on it for now, so.
right, so, I mean, I don't know, we just either fix it or get rid of it, you know, It's not gonna take a whole lot, just, put a couple boards in it, but the caution tape is all tore down, that's not gonna stay up. But we planted flowers in that box that stands up off the ground there, and there's no irrigation in that works, and it's just. We need to do something different with that, there's really no reason to put flowers in there, they're just gonna die, so. Either we need to put some. Perennials in there and. And just leave it at that or something, but next year, probably have to do something with that too.
I would hardly think the irrigation's been, I know it's all timed out, but man, it seems like it's been wet enough.
Yeah, it has up until about the last 3-4 weeks, and those flowers, get watered every other day, especially in a pot that's standing up 3 foot off the ground, they dry out in a couple days if you don't water them. They're dead already, so.
Well, the other day I was here and when I left, that flower bed up here in the front where the flagpole is.
Yeah,
Irrigation was on and only 2 of the sprinkler things were on, another one by the driveway was not on. Danielle today said she thought that was one that was maybe had done the bubbling at one point, wasn't working right. So we'll have to kind of check off with that, check it out.
yeah, I don't know, maybe it's on a different,
Yeah,
valve, I mean, there's 2 or 3 valves down there in that box, and they replaced all of them last month, but,
yeah,
Didn't have the problem with that one, it was just that one head, so he's probably right, it might be on a different.
different.
yeah, I mean, we can just get in the box and turn them on and see, I mean, I can do that sometime.
But I'm with Ron thinking that we need to kind of do more perennials and maybe like some evergreen bushes or some nice ornamental grass. I love ornamental grass by Patriots Bank. That's really nice. And just kind of try to do more of that, and then maybe just spot check with some color. And then maybe even, we were talking about maybe even checking with another landscaper, so that kind of focuses more on flower beds versus,
Some of the gardens are,
Really
they have those little
they look horrible.
orange flowers, and I don't know, they really. This time of year, everything should be blooming like crazy, and most of them look like crap.
And of course, we look at the hospitals.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Hospitals, landscaping and their flowers, I mean, they're full, not that I would expect maybe ours to be that full, but I would expect it to be
Yeah, they should
better.
be blooming at their feet right now.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna kind of look to see what other landscapers,
Yeah.
and then Nelson can still do the mowing of everything. I mean, however. we
Anyway, we'll
figure that out.
check it out
We'll
for next
check
year, so.
that out.
That's all I got.
That it for you, Ron?
Yeah.
All right, Luann, how about you?
Okay.
You got finance.
Yes, I do. Okay, as far as our ARPA funds, if you have those sheets available to you, we really have not spent any money this month, okay, so it's pretty much the same as last month. At this point, you can't really compare the budget and the income and expense from the previous years because it doesn't work that way with the ARPA fund. We get them once and then we just spend them down. At this point in our checking account for ARPA, we have $86,000 in the account. We still have to finish off the sirens, which I guess we'll talk about in a few minutes. So the remaining money we're looking at either the pedestrian trails or the upgrade of possible or the improvement at Trillium and the sirens or whatever. So at this point, the 86 is still floating. I'm not sure if with the pedestrian trail that we can meet all the ARPA requirements. So I'm still working with Johnny on that, to see if I can price it out. If not, we've got capital funds that we can use for that. When we look at our three funds are general, street, and capital. If we compare this budget versus actual, year to date, general and capital are down. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you something we found out. I pulled up the July sales tax revenue. And it doesn't get deposited until the next month, so it probably just got deposited. It's usually around the 8th, 10th of the month. And with this deposit, we are finally in line with what we were last year. Okay, because we've been way down from the previous year. However, we'll be down in the anomaly year where we were down $10,000 from the 2022 revenue that was brought in, and sales tax revenue that was brought in. So we are finally in good standing will be when we show our August numbers, okay? So, as far as the budget, it's down, income wise, by 34,000. That will be adjusted at the end of the year when we amend our budget, okay? Based on the revenues that we've received. But the nice thing is our expenses are down. And our expenses are down, by 49,000, which means we have a net income. When we're comparing budget to actual of $14,270. And then we will, as I said, we will review our budget later on in the year. If you look at our statement of financial income and expenses, when we compare 23 to 24, our general income is definitely down. Street is up slightly and capital is just down a little bit. So the decrease is about $22,000. However, let's see, compared to the sales by, like I mentioned, with our sales tax revenue, that number will get more in line because we will our sales tax income will be ahead of last year. Expenses also are down when we compare the year before last to this year. And that gives us a net income of $10,281 for year to date. And we still have revenues left over from previous years in all three of our funds, so we're sitting in a really good position.
Okay,
Any questions?
none from me. Great, thank you. Go ahead. Always good to have you on the finance department. Renita.
Okay, I've got emergency management. We've got Paul Rader, our emergency management coordinator. He's got his business card and he's got his village email address, so he's all set up now and he's connected to the village officially. Also, started this month, the county has a local emergency operations plan, Camden County, and every 2 years it's reviewed with all the county members and different municipalities that are involved in the county. And they review it to see if anything's changed. So Paul and I have started sitting in on those once a week meetings to go over the different sections that are the county emergency management director is heading to check it. So that's what we're doing. And the road district is on the list and they have certain items they kind of supposed to review. Water companies the same way. I did go through and they had a sheet that showed the different positions, county positions and the different topics. So I went through and kind of related the county position with the villages positions, like Paul and I would do the emergency management, attend those. And then Danielle and Luann, I thought there's 2 sections on here for county clerk and county treasurer. And I figured so that they can be kind of familiar with the happenings in case there's a disaster, blah, blah. They can attend that and attend it via Zoom or WebEx, so you don't have to leave the building. So we're in the process of that. It'll be going through August and through September. So once that's done, they'll update everything, and then they will produce a new one for the county. So, and as we're going through it, Paul and I are going through the couple that we've gone through. There'll be, after we go through, there'll be several things that he and I will get together and talk about different things that we will want to do, like here for our location, and kind of have an idea, kind of game plan written out on that. So that's that one. Ron's covered the gardens. I still haven't received a letter from the property owner, but I talked to Jay today, and he goes, no, I haven't yet got something back from him. He goes, but the guy, we've already talked to the guy, he said he's fine, he's okay with it being there and whatever. I said, well, we're gonna go ahead, we're proceeding, but it's just something we want to have in our file, so we're still waiting on that. Great part. Nothing for the road district, they're moving along. There's people thinking the road's nice and clean. They did get done with that flume, that drainage flume down there by Cedar Crest, I think it is. They put that in, and which was good, because we left, my husband and I left Horseshoe Bend this morning, went down for. Oh, you should see the water coming down that Horseshoe Bend, so that was good timing on their part. The water district, they are going to, next week, I talked to Anthony, next week, he's setting up the account for the village, the alert account for all the flower beds that we have the meters in, so if there's something leaking, we'll get an alert. And we're putting Danielle, Ron and I will be on that alert system. And once Anthony gets it set up, test it out, then he'll come and kind of give us a little overview on how it works and things we can change on it. And Ron, I think, said he goes on his personal one, and he's pretty familiar with, so.
Yeah, they've got an app, they send you an alert or something if you're
Yeah.
using more water than normal, so you can check for leaks, so.
And then Anthony said you can change it too about how many, set it to where if you wanna say it uses up so many gallons per hour, you can adjust that, so.
And it'll give you a rundown of how much you use each month or each, by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year, and
Yeah,
compare it to other times, there's a lot of information on it.
and I think our main thing is for any,
Yeah,
things
find
start
out.
bubbling up or
Yeah.
whatever else maybe,
Yeah.
and I heard there was another one someplace not too long ago. That's kind of,
I'm getting a $200 bill.
Well,
Yeah.
So that's that, and then planning and zoning, which we talked about later, the planning and zoning application. Todd, I think we submitted, and I think we're copying them back, we'll address that, talk about that later, yeah. And that is all I have for my report.
Okay, thank you, Renita. Unfinished business. Well, the first one up is the storm siren update. And I know, Todd, you're in on this too, so I'm gonna segue on to you also. I'm gonna say Todd and I, we both contacted Cindy Buckley more than once by email and by voicemail. I guess it seems very difficult to be getting the Brown family involved with it. We have everything kind of ready to go. We're still kind of holding and waiting, but they want to review it again. So Todd, I'll go to you for a second. Did you have any other news besides that on?
No, Dave, I communicated my message history with you and Tony and turned that back to you in hopes that you might have some local contact with those parties. As you can remember, there were 4 proposed sites, 2 of which were on lodge property. Apparently the optimum locations for all 4. If we can secure those 2 locations, then we move forward. Otherwise, we need to find 2 alternative locations. Hopefully, Cindy and/or Mr. Brown will recognize the need for it in the community. And I did speak with Mike McDorman a few weeks ago. Mike didn't seem to think there should be too many impediments in the way of getting that done. He was supportive of the idea. I don't know how often he and Mr. Brown speak, but that topic seems to have just kind of slowed to a halt.
Yes, I agree. It's been at least 9 months now.
Hasn't it sold? Because I
Yeah,
thought somebody, their paychecks are coming from a different company now.
And I've been
I don't know that, but as I understand it, and again, maybe Todd could put more into it than I know, but maybe the lodge is sold, but the Brown family, I think, still owns all the lakeside, all the Four Season Investments or Four Season Lakeside. I think all that's sitting with the Brown family, I think, so that's where we are getting, that's where we're trying to get these 2 plots, of which they've been surveyed. That's why we just soon not move them again.
But have we given a deadline time? I mean, we're gonna keep pushing and waiting for them? I mean, are we gonna have some time?
I would like to say that we would have a deadline time, but
Well, I think,
in working with Mr. Brown, it sometimes is a little difficult to pin him down, because it's not just him. I think he wants Susan in on it, I think he
I
wants,
understand that, but.
I mean, it's.
The last meeting, we said we were given until
Till
the end of this
August.
month.
Yeah.
I did take a phone call from somebody that happens to be in the room that offered assistance getting a hold of the Browns if we needed it. So,
Yeah.
if you want to go that route, he said he was willing to offer assistance.
Right, and again, we'd like, the two plots that we do have been surveyed, and they're the optimum places to put them, because they're at a higher location or whatever. It's not to say that we can't. find
Right,
different.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah, I
have-
don't care, I don't care a
I-
lot, but I just think we've got them, they're good, and they're kind of.
They're gonna be obsolete, but.
Where-
put them up.
Right.
I mean, it's gone on.
And it's unfortunate, though it's unfortunate, but at least the siren people have not been,
Yeah.
they haven't been pushed just because they're swamped. I mean, you know, so, but that doesn't mean that's out.
Now, one thing on this map that I guess the siren people did initially on all the new the locations, which include the new ones. And they did these circles, and Danielle and I don't know what level of, sirens they are. But there's one spot in the village that is not covered by the sirens. And it just so happens to be mine. I really feel like,
Yeah,
I really are, okay,
Yeah. yeah,
what's going on? I know I asked a lot of questions, but.
well, it's a good question to ask,
But because there's other people living it.
Yes.
When,
for sure,
when,
yeah.
when we had the one on Key West, I could hear it if I was outside. Now, these aren't on Key West, obviously, we're not having Key West location any longer, because I don't see it there. But that's something, I don't know how we wanna maybe look at that, just to make sure whenever we get to.
I would agree, if we wanna take on everybody, we certainly can.
Yeah, but we got Sunrise Beach kind of over here, we'll be covered.
Yeah,
Especially across the lake.
probably across the lake, they can hear it better than you could.
Yeah, probably, yeah, most of us, yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the things I have with sirens. Another thing is just trying to get it moved so we can get them up. But we told people, and people are aware of it, and
Well, it's,
Been long enough, really.
yeah, it has been long enough, and it sure would be nice to progress with the Browns and get this behind us, so.
I called them to the outdoor warning guy today and left a message. He didn't get back to me today, but I'll probably. I was just gonna talk about the size and
Yes,
his plan on getting stuff here so we can get the two installed that are good.
yeah,
So David, I'm not a siren installation expert, but the location proposed behind Avila, the distance between that and the POA building is a 3-wood. I can't imagine the efficiency of the siren would be decreased substantially if you were to try to work something out with POA to locate it there. And then if you were to abstain from the vote, the location for the Bittersweet at the end of the Bittersweet location is a wedge from your building. So if you were to abstain from the vote, but the remainder of the panel were to vote to place that siren at or on your location, perhaps that would solve the two problems if in fact Renita or others want to put a deadline on this.
We
Right.
actually have somebody that's already said that they would give us the approval on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
but it's a pretty good distance away from the, by Avila, it's pretty good,
yeah.
I mean, it's,
By the patrons.
I don't know what,
Gotcha.
you know.
Gotcha.
But if that siren is also increased as we are planning to, you know, the size of that, then I'm sure it'll reach that far. And yes, Todd, yeah, my piece of property is right next to that other piece of property that the Browns have, which that's certainly fine by me. I just hate to have to go through surveying it again. That could possibly take you know, 2 or 3 months to pull that off. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm really hoping between all of us somehow we can get to the Browns and say, let's put this behind us somehow. It seems simple enough. Okay, so,
That'd be great.
yep, all right, we're working on that again, okay? Pedestrian trial update.
Oh, that's.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
I was making notes.
Yep.
Let's see, Dave and I met with, Kevin and Jeremy from the road district in reference to, the email that had been received quite a while ago from, our building inspector about improving the pedestrian trails and, what we were looking at was, using ARPA funds to replace, I think it was like, was it 15 culverts, along the pedestrian trail, and that would, we thought it would be covered by, ARPA because of the fact that it's helping with storm drainage and whatever, okay? because of us working directly with the road district, we're having to kind of jump through some hoops and whatever as far as our ARPA funding. But we still have on our ARPA budget the 35,000 to do that. Okay, so if Joni can figure out a way that we can get it approved through ARPA, you know, we can use those funds. And the reason we want to do this is, he said a lot of culverts are starting to collapse. And they need to be replaced, and the road district said that that's the kind of thing that they can work on between projects, or if they have a rainy day or whatever, when they can't be doing something else, they can, you know, get one of the culverts done in one day, and they can supply all of the only thing that's needed is the labor, some rock, and the culvert material. That's all that's needed to correct that. So, hopefully we can get this thing started in the fall. I'm gonna work on that again this week with Joni. And it turned out instead of just 3 projects, there are really 4 projects that were brought to our attention. The second project is some of the handrails. There's some places where there's like a 6-foot drop to the side of the pedestrian trail. And they do have several, I think 1 or 2 handrails that have already been put up in areas like that. And they would like to see us do that in some of these areas for the safety, so that a pedestrian doesn't fall off of it. So I is supposedly working to get a bid for 1 to see, you know, because we don't know if they're $100 a piece or $1,000 a piece. And we thought that we thought they were like 15, but didn't he say there were only like 6 places where we really need it?
Yeah.
To see if we have to go to bid. So that's where we sit with that one. Because if we don't have to go to bid, then we can go ahead and do it. And Kevin and Jeremy worked with us on how they need to be designed. So, and then put them to concrete and whatever. The third thing that they were talking about is along Cherokee near Lynn Creek and Case Point. There needs to be a 2-inch overlay on that, okay? And the road district can't do it because their equipment is too big. They don't have anything that's narrow enough to for the width of the pedestrian trail. So they recommended several of the asphalt companies around here, some of the smaller companies, and Dave was gonna get in touch with them and possibly look at doing that next spring.
Where was that?
It's on, they said it's on Cherokee near Lynn Creek and Case Point.
Pretty much, right down here at the corner where Mr. Holcomb lives, right there, and to the right as it whips on around towards Case Point. It's really overgrown, first of all,
Yeah.
it needs some bushwhacking going on with it. And
Yeah, he said we need to take out some, you know, some of the foliage in there before we can start the asphalting, so.
Right.
You know, we can get somebody to come in and do that, but we just need to get the asphalt thing set up and then do that right before, you know, the asphalt goes down. And then the last thing, which I was not aware of, that Kevin brought to our attention, is along Horseshoe Bend. That the pedestrian trail there has cracks in it. And we can't redo the asphalt by overlay because, and I looked, I finally understood what they were talking about. The curb sits here and the asphalt has to meet up with the curb. If we put an overlay on it, then the asphalt becomes higher than the curb and you can't do that. So what he is recommending is that we fill the cracks and then we also do a seal coat on all of that. So that's another thing that we need to look at. And with those things, you know, those can fall under the capital funds. Okay, which we have, that checking account has plenty of money in it, or whatever.
I mean, ours only goes to.
To the municipality,
Right.
yeah, we won't be doing the whole thing. we just-
Blackhawk,
Yeah.
Blackhawk.
Where's the?
it's
rest of it?
supposed to be the Brown family, they're the keepers of it.
Yeah.
But where does our pedestrian pathway end?
Right there at Blackhawk.
At Blackhawk, okay, that's fine.
Well, as far as what.
Village, yeah.
You know, those bike walk zone signs that were
Uh-huh.
out there, you know, when they put that substation in, they took those down to redo that sidewalk and they never got put back up. I don't know whatever happened to those, but I guess it's not our problem,
Like I
but
said,
that's beyond our
Yeah.
jurisdiction, so.
It is.
So the road district put them up to begin with because they got sued.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but they never got put back up after they put that substation in there, so, because it was closed for a period of time there. I don't know what happened to them, they might be laying it or something, I don't know whose responsibility it would be.
Okay, and that's all I have as far as the pedestrian trails. But it was a good meeting.
Yes, it was good, man.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Luann. the last thing on the unfinished business was projects from planning meeting updates. I know 2 meetings ago, we talked about that a little bit, I believe, but was anything covered on that at the last meeting that I was not at on any updates on any of the projects that we talked about?
I don't think so.
So we did.
I didn't.
We
I
just
did pick
had,
up a lot. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we just had it set that updates would come this meeting if we had any.
Okay.
The only updates I know we can do is mark off some things on Ridgewood Gardens, so, yeah, on our project. Yeah,
The sign and see,
yeah,
no actually moves.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything, the Trillium thing, again, a little bit, there's something that we need to do there for safety purposes.
Yeah,
Um,
this is the Ridgewood Gardens electric, that's pretty much been taken care of.
Okay, all right. Next order of business is new business. Do we have anything on the new business? Sounds like a no on that. 7th item is general discussion. That means we can just talk about whatever that doesn't have a.
No, that's
Yes, is that
Business.
business, you guys signed up.
that's
Oh.
number 10, that's number 10.
Well, I do have a question. So I'd like to know what the status is of our commercial lot there that's, by the high performance and stuff. I know they cleaned the trees up, which is
Okay.
fantastic.
Okay,
And the trailer that was there with the signage on the side, I thought was kind of set up to where, I guess you could look by the sign, so I was like, okay. But they have those flatbed trailer-like things there sometimes, frequently, quite a bit. They have, the weeds are getting pretty tall around those rock piles that they have, stone piles. So I think it's getting kind of tacky looking, and I think if we don't kind of nip it in the bud. Then if we let that go, then what's gonna happen, because we gotta remember, high performance, we told them they can't park boat trailers out there. And we're letting these people park these. Service trailers, or what do you wanna call them, and I'm just afraid if we let it go, it's just gonna get bigger, and then somebody else commercial comes in, and they're gonna do it, and then we're gonna lose control. Of the thing, now the POA has the Lakeside POA has a thing about. Grass getting so tall, like at 8 inches, and then they get a warning about be sure and cut it down. So I don't know if we need to kind of, I don't know if we have something like that, the village probably does it, because we've never had to deal with it. Because it's all Lakeside POA. But we may have to kind of get something, because as we get commercial business, we want to kind of start, and because I'm really surprised high performance hadn't. Started doing something, because this place.
well,
So
again,
that's my thing.
Yeah, it's pretty visual, because you come, around that curve and up on the hill, and that's all you see.
And I mean.
yeah, I think there's a little bit of a stall technique going on there, because Mike Riley, Land Division, I believe it's called actually, is buying that other next building
To the
closest to the, to the
Oh.
left. So he's buying it from, is it John? What's his name? No. Is
The
that
land.
John, High Performance is John.
Land.
Yeah, he's buying that building from him, so I know it's kind of, they're kind of, I think they got it all figured out, but they just haven't got it settled, so it's probably falling in no man's land on
Yeah.
who's taking care of it or whatever, but. And I know Ike's pretty in tune with what's going on there. Riley, I know, has talked with Ike, our inspector, but I can't answer any more of that,
Well, I just think, I know they used to, those trailers from the past, I know those trailers, that used to be parked down there in that building that's behind where that landed.
Yeah.
Building, because they have some space there, but they have that parked there. But I think also the weeds, I mean, somebody should be out there, that's at least weed. What,
Yeah.
doing it, I mean.
I will ask Ike about that, and see
Yeah.
where he stands, because I know he's in contact with them, and they've both been, both Mike Riley and this John, they've been very good ones.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not saying they're
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
people, but I'm
so-
just saying, as it goes along, if we were trying to keep the village looking presentable. And having that, appearance of a. Oh,
That's,
it's
and,
nice.
and again, it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it, because there's appearance to it, but that corner is a real funky corner, that corner has been cropped off. And it's, there, a lot of that is really right of way. It's
Oh.
not even their property, I mean, you see how
Well,
far back the
but-
telephone poles are, I mean, you know.
But
so
this-
it's-
yeah, this
It's
is
not really
really-
their place to necessarily take care of them,
Oh,
right?
gotcha, and that'd be good to kind of know too,
Yeah.
but all the rocks and the stone.
I agree,
like,
I agree with that, I'm not.
Yeah,
trying to
that's, yeah,
soften
but that's
that.
where I'm really noticing.
I think if you didn't have the weeds all around and the rocks and stone wouldn't look as horrible.
As bad.
The weeds growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
get the trailers.
It's kind of a red
yellow.
flag.
Yeah, I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, I will touch base with Mike on that,
That'd be
okay?
great. I just know some of my neighbors and people are going, what's going on there? It's like,
Okay, if that's it for general discussion, I'll turn it over to our city attorney update. Todd, do you have anything for us?
Dave, we had several topics to address this month. Renita made mention of some P and Z forms that you wanted updated. I've submitted a rezoning application and a redevelopment application to the panel. One of the two is in your packet tonight, I noticed.
Yes.
We also did a short-term rental application revision. That's not part of your packet, but you may have received a copy of the affidavit of short-term rental complaint. So there were several forms that were revised as part of July and or August. You had a certified records request for a criminal complaint or criminal disposition that preceded the transfer to Camden County Circuit Court. As a result, I didn't have a prosecutor's file on it. Danielle did some research on it and couldn't find any in long-term storage. So Rochelle, the prosecuting attorney, unfortunately may not be provided those records, or we couldn't find them on our end. Let's see, Miss Sullivan's complaint came up in that the state commission still had that as an open file or an open complaint. I brought to their attention that matter had been resolved. I recently got confirmation from the commission that they were going to close their file on that because Miss Sullivan communicated to them that she indeed had resolved the complaint and that the complaint with the commission could be dismissed. There was some topics about some back and forth on the Ridgeway Garden. We talked about that. Renita was taking the lead on that to try to find if there had ever been historically communication or consent or some type of permission given to the Village of Four Seasons to have that beautification project on the corner of Ridgeway. That apparently didn't find, and no one found a document, and that didn't bring to life any type of written or expressed agreement between the parties. So that one brings up the topic that we've probably raised from the dead on 3 or 4 occasions, wherein that your beautification projects are built on other people's property. So my suggestion is to get an easement or some type of permissive agreement with the parties that you can file with the recorder of deeds. Just in the exchange of a permissive letter, I just don't like that. It gets it done in the immediate, but if there's a successor in interest on that property, he or she may not like the agreement and may not be bound by it. So I would go so far as to get an easement or some type of an agreement that you could record that would encumber that property going forward. There was some emails exchanged regarding storm sirens. We talked about that topic at length. Unfortunately, from my end, none of my communications were responded to. So I'm happy to push the topic a little bit, but to Renita's position of putting a deadline on it, I just don't know that you're arguing from a position of strength and demanding deadlines. Perhaps that's an internalized deadline that you would make among the panel that would say, if we can't get this done by a certain deadline, then internally we can make other steps or take other measures to try to complete that project. I think that's everything on my immediate list, save and except the traditional emails and back and forth that we normally have. The criminal court ran efficiently today at 3 o'clock. That seems to be doing well. Again, thank you for transferring that to the Camden County Circuit Court. You began that avalanche or snowball, and now you were the first. And now Lynn Creek, Camdenton, Sunrise Beach, and one other municipality that doesn't come to mind are all have all transferred their operations to the Camden County Circuit Court, and Judge Michael Gilly is presiding over that court very efficiently, and it seems to be working very well. So thank you again for doing that.
Sure. Great, thanks, Todd, and thanks for putting this rezoning thing together too. I think it's short, simple enough for what we need it for. It doesn't,
Covers everything.
I think it covers everything. I've never saw something just 3 pages worth. It's very nice that it's condensed and easy to read, easy to fill out and whatever else. I appreciate you working on.
Of course, I'm open to any suggestions. My list was so long that I forgot one. You've got that floodplain administration or administrator topic, your ordinance that you adopted to transfer that from one individual to your village inspector lacked certain language that the state's looking for, and I'm working on that and should hopefully have that to you next week.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that was a problem.
We got an email about it.
Okay.
None of us did until we got the grocery list from the state.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Todd. Ms. Quirky update. What are you?
Okay, I don't have a whole lot. The CDs, it'll now be the 3rd time I've gone into Patriots to get it set up. I need to get photo IDs from you or 2 IDs from you, and then I'll try that again. And Tony, when he gets back, I'll just have to go in. But the rates are the same, so it shouldn't be an issue. The rezoning I stuck in there for you guys to see, like you already talked about. He sent others, but the formatting was weird, so I'm fixing it. You'll see that. The short-term rental, Renita, that you was talking about, that came in maybe at the 1st of the month, and I just filed it. I didn't send it to everybody. It was
What was it?
he just changed the agreement a little bit, so it's more official.
Oh,
And then the other thing I just kind of wanted to throw out there is, I think since Jeff's passing, it'd be nice for the village to do something to honor him, since he was here for 13 years. I don't know if it's a plaque or if it's, I don't know what it is, but I just wanted to throw out there that I think it'd be nice to do something for him since
I think
he
it's good.
did so much for the village.
Yeah, that was kind of a quick and quiet death, really,
Was.
you know. So we didn't get much news from the family about the funeral or
No,
any of that, so, you know, but that doesn't mean that we can just leave it alone, so we can try to get something accomplished.
I think it'd be nice and just something, it doesn't have to be huge, but I've heard, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I've heard that they're gonna do a celebration of life in September.
Okay.
If I hear more,
Yeah,
I'll
we
make
can
sure and share
Get something for that, maybe.
Yep. Okay, great, we're into comments from visitors. Judge Holden, you got some comments,
I got a
questions, answers?
This is a couple of comments we discussed several years ago also. Recently, I've been contacted by neighbors and people out in the area around me where I live, because I'm pretty true to this. That has to do with the 4-wheelers, metal cars, up and down the street. They're on the trail, they can call them now the pedestrian trail all the time. They also are out in the street. Neither one of them are legal, they'll never be legal on the sidewalks, it's not that really designated as. They are in the street and they're being operated by people. We've seen kids operating, overloaded, all in violation of everything we think about. ATVs, the utility vehicles, off-road, whatever they call them. I've seen one that comes down the creek and goes up Cherokee on a regular basis. These are also not licensed, not legal as far as ATVs, so fit within the category. I don't think they also fit within the category of being within 3 miles of residence, because it comes way further back on Lynn Creek or Case Point and goes someplace up on Cherokee for some reason. Other jurisdictions have passed recently, and some several years ago, also recently had ATVs, Lake Ozark and Sage Beach about these things. And realistically, if you want to consider something like that, look at their ordinances, because you will find, for example, they cannot be operated on streets that have 30 mph, unless it's 30 mph under. But it's take care of practically every street we have, Cherokee, Bittersweet, certainly Washington Parkway. So it's gonna restrict that if you follow that kind of ordinance, but at least you have some legality with it too. I have checked with, because there's no fee involved in Osage Beach, but there is at Lake Ozark. It's a one-time fee for the golf carts. I talked to her today, 161 permits been issued.
Wow.
She said, you don't see hardly any golf cars out because there's so restricted on where they can be used. She said, all supposed to come in and tell us whenever they no longer have that, so it can be taken off the register. She said, I do not have to, because they no longer exist. They just passed the ATV part at Lake Ozark. And I want you to, I think this thing has to do with the fact that, and Jimmy and I talked about this, people know about it, they see somebody use it, they think they can use it. Jimmy told me and verified with the clerk, I think, that he had somebody that he talked to and saw, who actually said, well, I got a permit, the Lake Ozark got a permit, and thought that wasn't going on here. The clerk thought it's because we share the same zip code, perhaps.
Right.
We probably need bigger signs on the sidewalks, and so that, restrict that to little big signs now. Hopefully the news media, maybe our website, maybe the POA can get this word out. And try to get people to stop using this because they are hazardous, they're dangerous, they should not be used where they're being used now. The second part had to do with the excessive noise violation. And we have that in our code. It also has parameters as far as what decibel level can be by various vehicles. Where I live, it's not the trucks, but we expect trucks to have noise. They operate during the week, during reasonable hours. It's some of these guys up here with hot rod trucks, cars, and they come down here on Land Creek, when they turn on Cherokee, they really get on it big time. And if or exceed any decibel level authorized by our ordinance, I'm sure that, I didn't have it neither tested. I know what my hearing says. Even my hearing aids out. I know how. So, perhaps we can consider looking at something like that. I don't want those to cost, because we do have requirement in the ordinance that has to be in violation, you have to be able to test it within 25 feet where it is. So it might be difficult to prosecute, but they certainly have never heard to be stopped and warned about it. Maybe they'll slow down or stop using that for a reason to make noise in the community. It's quiet, it needs to be quiet. This is a residential community. So I appreciate anything the board might be able to do as far as seeing to get publication out, publicity out, have this rest the people who are driving this golf cart. Don't worry if it works. And somebody's gonna get hurt. I know that one time, we were talking about this 2 years ago. Jeff had seen somebody when they had an accident, kids up on Head Street up there, that had an accident in a golf cart. So I appreciate it, the board to do this.
Great, thanks. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know. Of course, right where my office is, I hear the same type of noise that you also hear there, and the jack brakes, they like to hit those jack brakes too, which. Again, I don't know if there's any signage that can be done, and I'm sure you probably don't have a decibel reader in your back seat, do you?
Most.
That's back in the back of your car or.
Most municipalities have a ordinance dealing with engine brakes, but. Of course.
How do you enforce it?
You ain't gonna put the sign there,
Yeah, 'cause
but. Would you rather have them running over your house because the brakes are lost,
Yeah.
They are effective.
First, I guess the ordinance makes it just so if you do happen to catch somebody, then you have some.
It's the ones,
Behind.
if they don't have, if they have mufflers on, you don't even know they're using them, it's the ones that have straight pipes. and they
Yeah,
fire
like
those.
those.
We don't have a decimal level though, do we? Remember wasn't Kevin in our meeting the other day talking about? I don't know why Kevin would have been saying that, but we were talking about decimal levels.
Actually, when you're.
We do in
Do we?
our, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? I think in boats, it's like 80 or something, 86, is that?
You ever hear
That's
that?
like what?
It's government, but it's like pretty Chinese in a way.
Right.
It's section 24, 170,
170?
yeah, 24, 170.
24/170.
Oh, that's
Everybody has speed limit 35 or less is 92. For vehicles that, gross vehicle weight 10,000 pounds or more. 35, over 35 96 decibels. Stationary run up, whatever exactly that is, 94 decibels.
Right, well, that's pretty loud.
Any motorcycle, it's 90, 94, and 90 in the same categories. Other motor vehicles or any combination of vehicles towed is 84 and 88, which that's lower than the others, so that.
Yeah.
But that's what's in your code right now.
Well, even though we have the standard out there, and I appreciate the standard would be required for prosecution. Certainly you can hear it, because you remember the old story about before, if you see pornography, you know pornography when you see it. Well, when you hear excessive noise, you know excessive noise when you hear it.
Mhm.
That's the same theory. It doesn't have to be tested.
Right.
It's not satisfactory prosecution unless you have a decibel reader, right, to get it tested, but it's certainly something you can talk to.
So I guess the decibel reader, would that be something, I know, people I guess would have it, I mean, to try to quote, catch somebody, would that be the sheriff's car that would have those, or how would we?
Well, I know
monitor that?
Water patrol carries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. they-
Because us, I mean,
Tested
if
it
Jim
out.
had a decibel reader, he took it, if it has to be so many, close to so
I
many
mean-
feet, how would that, I
I
mean? how
mean,
would-
technically, I guess the village could buy them.
Yeah.
A couple of them, whatever, and then give them to us. But you'd have to get them certified every so often, whatever that may be.
Mhm.
Like our radars, we have to get them certified by some company at least once a year, I believe. And I'm guessing vessel readers would be the same. I think.
Wonder, are they? Can you get them there like remote control that you can mount on a street sign or something like that? Otherwise, what do you do? Sit there and wait for 24 hours a day?
No, you just have to come across them.
But I mean, that, you just run it like we do speed,
Yeah,
it randomly pick a
Right.
spot and sit.
right.
Or
And this,
whatever.
and those, the decibel is, it's a footage though too, it's like
Yeah.
a certain amount of decibels in 50
Exactly.
feet or something, I mean, it's a deal.
And then there's other sections that, let's say you're doing construction in somebody's neighborhood. You've got a time limit that you can't go over a certain mile and all that stuff.
Right.
Like I said, I was reading over it. After talking to him one day or whatever. And like I said, part of it reads like Chinese, it's all confusing.
Yes,
But that technically it is in your ordinance right now.
okay.
I know a very comfortable place to sit. So all the time they generally come.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's a pretty.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
And I think once you get a couple of those catches, and the word gets out, they'll, yeah.
Especially if it's the same people doing it over and over and over again.
And where Jim's at, he's right
Yeah.
on that corner where you gotta stop or whatever. So he's getting acceleration or deceleration both ways.
Yeah.
Two of the four corners of his house,
Mhm.
that's what really sucks on him,
Mhm.
because he's getting it both directions, or two of the four directions. Or I just drive up the road from him and I just get it real quick by.
Nobody's talking about that.
We're good,
Okay.
thank you, Jim, for bringing that up again on those particular things. If there's no more comments from any of the gallery, then we'll talk about our next meeting, which just happens to be 9/11/2024. And if that's it for everybody else, I would take a motion for adjournment, unless you guys want to just stay here.
Let's have a party. No. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:29.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, sounds good to me. So, a vote on that, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed, nay. Okay, all right, thank you all for showing up.
It was an hour, I'm good.
Well, yeah. Within an hour, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. I don't know if there was anything worthy for the press, but you're here. Well, we can at least tell your boss that you were here again, so.
She missed last month.
Oh,
I was in Iowa for like 2 months in a row, I think, so like,
Alright.
I'll just go up this night.
Yeah.
Do you guys have it where it's uploaded on YouTube yet, or is it just doing?
It will be, the last couple of meetings, because
God, thanks.
the,
See that?
storage
that we used to record this.
Okay.
I forgot to move back in here after I was loading things. So those 2 meetings gonna get recorded.
Okay.
This one will be though, and I will upload it hopefully right.
That'd be nice, you could probably pick up a lot of them.
You know.
It's great to have you here and see you here.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could probably save some time and